Good morning, friends. Today we are finishing up our unit on geometry, and I wanted to read you this book called Shapes All Around by Gare Thompson and illustrations by Stephen Mock. And in this book, you're going to find many of the shapes that we learned about during geometry, from the sphere, the cube, triangle, rectangle, circle, rectangle, and square. You're going to see many of these shapes inside here. Actually, this is the table of contents. This book contains two stories. It has shapes all around and find the shapes, which are two stories that go together. They're both informational text based on science. I say math more than science, but that's what it says here. I'm going to read both of these stories to you this morning. This is the first one, Shapes All Around. And you can see the setting for this picture is on a playground. So this little girl is going to a playground, and it says, I am making a scrapbook of all the different shapes I see. There are circles. There are squares. Let's see, where do you see a square? Oh, here's a square. There are rectangles down here, and triangles all around. So all around this playground, you'll see different shapes all around. Let's start with circles. Let's look for more shapes in the park. We can find circles. Now, there's two things on this page that I disagree with. And if you are finishing up this unit, I hope that you will see the two problems that I see. I definitely see one circle here in the hula hoop that this girl is playing with. So she says we play with circles. But then this is a bubble. And so to me, this is definitely not a circle. So if it's a full round bubble or a full round basketball, do you know what you would call those? I'm anxious for you to tell me today. Those would not be circles. These are circles. Look at these rings. There are many circles. You can go up, up, up and climb up the rings. But this soccer ball here is definitely not a circle. Okay, it's the same as the bubble and the same as the basketball. And we call those spheres. Here's some more circles. Wheels are circles that go round and round. Wheels can take you where you want to go. So you can see the wheels on the bikes and also the wheel or the circles on the signs, the street signs. See the circles in the parade? The umbrellas are bright and colorful. How many umbrellas do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, plus one more makes 24. Squares. Look out the window. You are looking out of a square. All four sides on a square are the same length. So these are squares in his window. Look, he's looking through the squares, and I am looking through squares. So you can see this big square here, and then the little squares within the big square. And the squares have all four sides the same length. You can play games on squares. Move around on these squares. See, the hopscotch game is made of squares. And how many squares do you see in each game? So I am familiar with this game, the checkerboard, but I don't know this game. Maybe you guys do. If you do, let me know. Here are some more squares. And again, there's going to be two objects on this page that I completely disagree with as squares. They might have square faces, but they are not considered squares in geometry. So look at these squares. Some are big and some are small. Count them all. So you can divide a sandwich into squares. Here's a picture frame or some blocks that are made into a square. Here's some crackers that are square, but I totally disagree with these dice. They have square, definitely have square faces, but they on one of the sides, but the shape as a whole is called a cube. And then look at these blocks. Their faces are squares. There's no doubt about that. But the whole shape is called a cube. This quilt is made of many squares. All of the little squares make one big square. This big square can keep you warm. These squares make a pattern. And here's this little girl's quilt. And there's also the quilts that we see in the Froggy stories are made of squares as well. Let's go to rectangles. Run down the field. The soccer field is one big rectangle. There are smaller sides on one side, on two of the sides, and then longer sides on two of the sides. This is a rectangle. And there are big rectangles and smaller rectangles on the field too. The frame of the soccer goal is also a rectangle. Look at these buildings. They have many rectangles. The rectangles are different sizes and colors. So you can see from the windows to the openings on their balconies, their pillars on their front door, porches, rectangles everywhere. Even these little decorations of the lattice on the balconies are rectangles too. But their roof shapes in the front are not rectangles. Do you see those? Those are triangles. So rectangles are everywhere. Some rectangles are signs, like the exit sign. Some rectangles help us find our way, like street signs. Here's a turning right sign or a one-way sign. And look at the door is one big rectangle. Look on the pockets of her backpack, more rectangles. Many books and blocks and sheets of paper are rectangles. We use lots of rectangles every day. And this rectangle rules, it says, because it's a ruler. So all the books are rectangle shaped and the papers are rectangles. Let's talk about triangles. A triangle has 3 sides. So it has 1, 2, 3. You can make triangles for lunch. Cut a square and make triangles. Then eat them all up. So if you're going to make a sandwich today, maybe try cutting them into triangles and see if it tastes any different. Here's a piece of cheese that's a triangle, and here's, I think this is a piece of pie, and she is eating a slice of pizza. Those are all triangles. Many roofs are triangles. When the rain hits the roof, the water runs off and the house stays dry. So engineers will design a roof to be a triangle shape so that it runs down. So when the water hits, it runs down and off. Because if you had a flat roof, the water would just sit there and accumulate, and it could leak into the house. So that's why a lot of roofs are made into triangle shapes for the water to run off. Triangles. On a windy day, triangles can be fun. Kites that soar in the sky are triangles. The sails on a boat are triangles. So here's the kite, a similar kite to the one Yutong made. And then here's the sails on the boat. Those are all triangles. These signs are triangles. The signs tell the drivers to be careful. So this triangle with 2 people walking hand by hand means that people will be crossing the street here, so watch out. And do you know what yield means? This sign means yield. And yield means to slow down and wait your turn. That's what yield means. So just like in geometry earlier this unit, we talked about the shapes, but then we combine shapes to make new shapes. So if you look closely at something, you may see more than one shape. For instance, here's a rectangular building with square windows, or a diamond rhombus shape, or if I turned it on its side, would it look like a square? And inside this one is a rectangular black box with the street lights, red meaning stop, yellow meaning slow down, and green meaning go. And then here's the yield sign again with two triangles inside of that. Look at this picture in my scrapbook. What shapes do you see? Shapes are everywhere. I love the doggy house down here. But you see lots of different shapes on all of these homes, and even the sun is made with some circle, a big circle and some triangles. Look at the flower shapes, circles too. So that's the end of that story. Now this one is called Find the Shapes. Look around you. What shapes do you see? So here's some kids in a classroom. Some objects have more than one shape. What shapes can you find in each object? So these are billiard or balls that you would play pool with, and they are spheres, but when you line them all up to get ready to hit, they're made into a triangle. Here are some spheres that they've made into star. Here's a bowl of soup with some square crackers floating in it on a rectangular placemat. Here's a sphere-shaped pumpkin with triangle eyes, triangle nose, and a crescent mouth for the moon. Crescent moon shape for the mouth, for the smile of the pumpkin. Many things have the same shape, but they are different in other ways. Name the pictures that solve the riddle. I have a square shape. I am soft to the touch. What am I? So these are all squares, but what would be soft to the touch? Would it be the blocks, square faces on the blocks? Would it be the picture of the dogs, or would it be the pillow of the cats saying meow? What would be square and soft? It would be the pillow. I have a circle shape. I can bounce on the floor. What can bounce on the floor? Is it a yo-yo? Is it marbles, or is it a basketball? And again, they're saying that this is a circle shape, which if you are really a true mathematician, you would not call this a circle. You would call it a sphere. Same with the marbles, are spheres. I have a rectangle shape. I am long and wide. I can give you a ride. What am I? Is it a door? Is it a present? Or is it a school bus? What can give you the ride? It is the school bus. And if you look on the school bus, there's a sign here that says STOP, and it is a is it a hexagon? Yep, it's a hexagon shape on the stop sign on the rectangular bus that can give you the ride. I have a triangle shape, and the wind makes me move. I am made of cloth. What am I? Am I the pyramids in Egypt? Am I the triangle shape that you would play in music? Or am I the triangular sail of a sailboat? What would move and by the wind? It would be the sailboat. You guys are doing great. We see shapes at school. We see shapes in nature. We see shapes at home. What shapes do you see? So let's name these shapes. A globe is a sphere. Here's a kitty cat rolled up into a circle. Here's a rectangular piece of bread. Here are some dice that are the shapes of cubes. Here's, oh, I love this drum. This is a cylinder drum with a circular face on the top, but the whole shape is a cylinder with a rectangular mallet to hit and a circular end. Here's a, oh, this is, I think this is James's favorite, watermelon in the triangular shape. And then on the back, you'll see a square-shaped face present, rectangular, cheese. Look at the dollhouse filled with different shapes, from the triangular roof to the squares on the inside, the rectangular windows, the rectangular door, shapes everywhere on that. The face of the orange here is a circle. What about money? What about a dollar bill? What shape is that? A rectangle, but within the rectangular dollar bill, you will see circles, you will see ovals, you will see a rectangle within. So dollar bills, if you look at them, money has a lot of shapes in them. And then, of course, the coins are all circles. What about this tent? There's a triangular face on the end of this tent and a rectangular face on the side. Here is a lunchbox that is a rectangular prism shape, okay, with a rectangular shape up here for the handle. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this story as we wrap up our unit on geometry, and I will share the activities with this story later today. Have a great day.